Welcome to 52 Questions for God, a weekly show with one question you don't often hear discussed at church. I'm Rick Snider, a Washington journalist. I'm along with Pastor Bryan of Kneeling Point Church in White Plains, Maryland. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me.
And the point of this weekly show is to enhance our understanding of God. And through these questions, we pursue a more well-rounded view of the Lord in heaven. So one show every Sunday mornings here. You still have to go to church afterwards. We'll talk about passing the plate later. All right, so let's begin. I think the first question that people would want to ask God is, who are you? I mean, let's go down. First thing, what's his first name? Remember the song Joan Osborne had about 25 years ago? One of us. What if God was one of us? Just a stranger on the bus trying to, and she starts the song with saying, if God had a name, what would it be? And would you call it to his face? Like that. Would you call God, hey, Bob, how you doing? I mean, I don't know. So interesting on that because we just go with God. But in the Old Testament, God has introduced himself to people. He says, I am in Exodus. Well, okay, but do you have a name? And it's Yahweh, which is a personal name of I am. And in English Bibles, it's also rendered as the Lord. And Yahweh is also a distinctive Hebrew name for God that we translate to Jehovah. So we all have heard that, of course, on there. And in Exodus, they even talk about, on the sounds, the Hebrew name Yahweh becomes Jehovah. So we hear all this. But finally, for the English-speaking people, we talk about it as a German term from the 6th century, Guden, which means to call or to invoke a power. And in Western traditions, God is the God of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So we've kind of walked through this in a way that there is a name. We don't ever use it in a way, or we use it in different ways. But God does have a name.
Yeah, he does. And it's depending on one attribute of your life, your relationship with God. And it's like us. We've known each other a long time. We first name basis. We know our brides. We know our children. We know our stuff. But if we're just to get on a bus as we are and go to work, we know of each other by an association of a bus, but we don't know each other. So right now, the whole thing is, if you were to get on a bus and realize, what is God's name today to you? It's based on your relationship with him. And what do you want from a relationship? Do you want to add to or take from? And that's where, if I were to put a name on God, it would be friend. And the whole thing, I am, and Jehovah, and all that's proper. But God is, real name is all about love, joy, peace, and kindness, so that you can. So I don't know what to exactly say his name is, other than a loving friend who knows you where you are, sometimes better than you.
And of course, beyond the name, the question people would be is, where'd you come from? I mean, the universe didn't turn the lights on with the Big Bang, and you're sitting there going, about time you showed up. I mean, but, we always hear everlasting to everlasting on this. That God's always been there, and you're sitting there thinking, but everything has a spark. Everything has a beginning, right? And I've thought about this a lot, and it basically comes down to, not in God's case, because God is different than the laws of physics for us. Yeah. And so there might be some new way of doing things out there we don't know or understand. And so maybe when they did turn the light on, there he was sitting there going, okay, here we go.
It almost makes you want to ask the question, now what? A friend of mine who works with the Webb telescope, and he shows me new images, and he says, what about this? And I said, well, God is still creating. So what is God? And all of a sudden turn the light on. If you wait until you understand God before you ask Jesus to come into your heart to help you get through life, or to guide you properly so that you're making the best decisions, chances are you won't really have that moment. And it's a lot like a relationship with us. I've been married 40-some years, and I love my bride deeply. I don't understand her all the way, nor does she understand me. So it's not about waiting till understanding. It's waiting for, there's some things just worth letting go and letting God reveal to you in your own time, in your own way. Because as we both walk towards Jesus, we have one destiny, but we may have a different path along the way.
Now, Paul told the Colossians in 1:17, he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Everything that we can see and that all that we cannot comes from God. He has always existed. So I guess it's part of that faith thing. You take a breath and go, okay.
Right. So are you willing to let go of what you cannot control? Focus on what you can understand and comprehend and build on. And for the rest of it, you wait for God to reveal it to you in such a way that it makes it clear, compelling, and comforting to you. And sometimes we don't have the words to say it. We simply need to believe, accept, and surrender. And let it be.
Well, there you go. In a few minutes, we figured out God's name and where he came from and hopefully where we're going on all this. This is kind of show. Basically, you just talk it through a few minutes, and then you can go into church and tell everybody what you learned from listening to that guy for an hour. I don't know. Sometimes you guys talk a long time,
Well, sometimes we talk as long as 25 or 30 minutes.
Okay. I
That's
guess you get paid by
long time.
It's like lawyers get paid by the hour. I don't know. But we got it. We cut it through real quick. And next Sunday, we'll be back with another question. If you have a question that you'd like to have answered, maybe we'll use it. Send it to the YouTube through the channel. We'll do it. But next week, we'll talk about why bad things happen to good people. We all say that all the time on there. So anyway, have a blessed week. I'm Rick Snider for Chris Bryan. We'll see you again soon.